Hi, folks. It's Christopher Lawrence with Change My Life Coaching, career coach extraordinaire. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be launching a 5-part kind of mini series on video about video interviewing. And there's tips and tricks. I interviewed somebody who had recently completed a video interview, but there's something about video interviewing that has fundamentally sat wrong in my heart. It is not well with my soul. And I know the world's moving in this way and it ain't going backwards. So there's something to be said about acceptance here. I just feel like I'd like my voice heard on this a little bit. And I want to know your opinion too, because maybe I'm missing something. The part that bugs me is that there's a couple of things. So I want to give you an example. So you go and you do a video interview, but there's nobody in front of you talking. So I know when I get in front of a video, it's not the most natural thing. I've had to practice lots. You can hear me and umming all over the place. But when I'm in front of somebody, I speak differently. Right? So I look in their eyes. You can see now I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at the camera. Right? And so it's a little bit inauthentic because real connection can't be made. And I know with like work from home programs and this kind of thing, which is, again, it's where the world is moving, and there's lots of evidence for productivity about work from home and that kind of thing. The open office concept research is not like, the research does not support open office concepts, productivity drops. But with the video interviewing, there's a part of it that kind of bugs me if this is like a face-to-face kind of job, like if you're going to be working in the company's office, for a couple reasons. And one is the interview experience itself. Like, I can tell you this doing what I do for a living. I have clients who come in and sit in my office. If they know that I'm recording it, they perform differently than if I'm not recording it. And sometimes clients will record sessions so that they can listen to them later. And I perform differently. And I tell them that. It shows up a little bit different for the first few minutes for sure. I'm more comfortable with it than most people because I have almost daily practice. But these other people, they don't, if they don't do this every day, the second a video camera is on, they perform differently than they would in real life. And so you can't make a connection. And so I actually feel like it's a disservice to people who are not comfortable in practice. And that companies might actually be missing out on incredible candidates because somebody performs poorly in a timed interview where a clock is ticking down. Like, this goes back to test anxiety and stuff. And I feel like we're so far beyond this. The other thing that I thought of, and this one actually woke me up in the middle of the night and it kept me up, and I said, I'm going to do a video on this. It immediately discloses a visible disability or a visible minority. Whereas if you received a resume and you brought somebody in, based off of their experience, you wouldn't see that and you'd make a connection. But we have unconscious biases. We are all racist. Everybody on earth is racist or biased to, unconsciously, not deliberately. This is what the research shows, right? To some degree. And so it's like, by having to meet somebody face to face, you go through that moment with them. Whereas like 10 seconds into a video interview, you've already made your judgment and you might not even watch the rest of the video, which would be a very unethical thing to do. But I coach enough HR recruiters to know that that's what's happening. And so, so I think about even somebody who has a visual impairment and couldn't actually, maybe set this up themselves, because you have to sit within the frame and this and that. And, so immediately before the video interview starts, you have to disclose that you have this visual impairment. And of course, our laws in Canada protect us. But a company, could go through that process and never even watch the video, and you would never know because you had to request, a special treatment right out of the gate. Whereas somebody who has a visual impairment or a partial visual impairment, actually, like, you're not required to disclose that at all. right? So, and I can say this because we actually interviewed somebody who was almost completely partially blind, and I have somebody who is in my very close friend group who is also partially blind, two different people, and and they're not required to disclose until after they come in for the interview, right? So they get the job. If they need accommodation, then they can choose to disclose, but otherwise they're not required to. Whereas a video interview immediately filters that out. And if a company is intimidated to take that on, not only might the company be missing out on really diverse and cool thinking, because people who are differently abled think about the world in different ways, because they have their own biases about how the world works, and this is really brilliant and what makes it a beautiful thing. But so the companies miss out, but then it also puts this person who has a potential disability at risk too. So look, maybe my mind can be changed. I'm totally open to that. I really think that video interviewing is the wave of the future, even though I wouldn't really be a supporter of it, for kind of what an in-office position might look like, for the reasons I listed. So I really want to hear your opinions. I'm totally open to shifting my mindset on this, but I want to know what you think. So make your comments below. Please share this video because I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on it too that maybe aren't in my network and who have different ways of thinking. So thanks very much, guys. Christopher Lawrence with Change My Life Coaching. Come for your job, change for your life.